paddock for the first time. Dino Zamparelli on the outside of the red and white car of Luis Plato goes wide, and it's Tom Oliphant in the green and black car up the inside to gain ground. There's mayhem in the background. Peter Carl-Hennig gets involved in all of that. He was hit by a spinning Ross Wiley, and straight away 2 damaged cars at Paddock Hill Bend. Let's try and piece it all together. So there's the smoke. Peter Carl-Hennig tries to go around the outside of a spinning Ross Wiley and gets collected, and that's probably done suspension as well as bodywork on both cars, in fairness. From another angle, it looked as though Ross Wiley was just ahead of Jamie Orton when the spin started. Now, he may have fallen, he may have been pushed, but either way, that's why Jamie Orton was out of the race. Dino Zamparelli had a big trip through the gravel bed here, late in race 1, and that's Plato going off. A tyre has gone down, I think it pitches him into a spin. Tom Wrigley goes off in avoidance. Plato on the grass on the inside, Wrigley facing the wrong way. And Tom Wrigley will get going, but you can see it's a rear punctured tyre on Luis Plato's car. Here's the replay.
What? Oh, he catches the inside curb, and as he hits the outside curb, the tyre just literally comes off the rim.
And Wrigley, although he spun, lucky not to have a big damage bill there because he was right up with Plato.
Yeah, great avoiding action by the other cars.
I was going to say, lucky neither of them got collected. Look at Elinas switching sides, then he finds another car in the way.
Yes.
Ahead, 1 car but 1 is Plato. He'll get it sideways in a moment. The cars will go everywhere.
Oh, he really... Oh, good job he went to the left, wasn't it? That's both of it now.
Let's see how David Fairbrother got to where he was. Up just got Peter Parsons.
Yeah. Just got pinched on the inside and stayed on the brakes. Middle East in the GT3 Cup and was very successful. Several podiums out there.
That's Greg Caton throwing away a class lead, I'm afraid, off at Clearway, so it goes back in favour of that, wouldn't it? And off the road has gone 23, which is Ian Dockrell, who was the leader of Pro-Am 2. Not anymore, he's not, because he's way off at the foot of Paddock Hill Bend, and now he's got stuck.
Yeah, he won't get out of there. We'll just see it in the background. He's lost it midway through Paddock.
So the race leaders have just started the last lap. As there, nose to tail, Zamparelli and Camish arrive at Red Gate. Dino Zamparelli hangs onto the place. Oh, there's been a big accident ahead of them. Look, with debris on the road. There's a car that's been turned around. There's another off the road. And so right ahead of the race leader, looks like the Pro-Am 2 people have fallen out. And there, Peter Parsons' car is developed. At least a decade plus, was a regular in Formula 3 in the UK. And he's come back into racing and a spin for Graham Mundy. So he's had 1 drama at Lodge. He's had a spin at Island Bend. Tries to get going up the big sausage curve. He rides and rejoins in danger of losing more pace.
Oh dear, and that's not accident.
Yeah, and is that going to be an interruption or a stoppage even, because there's debris on the road? It's Fairbrother and Dockrell, isn't it, who've got themselves together coming out of Island Bend. That is David Fairbrother's car with a lot of damage. The witness marks on the sides. So he was ahead. Dockrell tried to get up the inside and they meet.
Yeah.
And round goes Fairbrother.
Either David Fairbrother didn't see him on his right-hand side in the same way that Aidan Moffat said he didn't see Sutton, but I have to say it looked like David was moving across the road, whether that was in preparation to defend down at Hislop's, but inadvertently he's then moved himself across the front of Ian Dockrell.
And there's tyre barrier damage as well.
It's a reasonable run, but the 908 on the left-hand side of the picture with the stripes across the bonnet. Dino Zamparelli has got position going into the first right-hander, and he's gone through into the lead. That is a really important move from Zamparelli, and there's carnage bringing out behind. Off into the dust. Now that, all the way through into the first left-hander. There's going to be carnage here, Tim, and this is exactly what those guys in the midfield didn't want.
Yeah, and Camish at the front's had contact on the exit of the chicane. He's still going, but he had contact as well.
Yeah, the 901 car, Dan Camish, that's the 928 in there. That's Charlie Eastwood, and he's got a problem. Was that Masson then who originally went off on the left-hand side and caused that big dust storm? Let's have a look. Yes, I think it is. Or no, that's Masson going through into that. Now watch. Oh my goodness, that's a very heavy.
This is
the angle. There it is.
Watch Camish's. Oh, it wasn't Camish. It was Eastwood's car that went up in the air.
Yeah.
Hence the broken front suspension.
Yeah, and there is Eastwood struggling at the bottom of the hill.
And that's going to hurt his championship position.
He's in 18th position, leading at the moment. Oh, and there he is going off. He was the Belgian leader. That's Arnage, and he's outbraked himself. Curse of the commentator there.
He'll be having wheel spin and oversteer everywhere, so it's probably harder going that way. Ah, this is what happened.
Oh, so that's the Cheney car going backwards at pace, but I don't think quite hit the
Time miss.
Maybe.
Yeah. all
this was the
carnage on the last lap there. Oh, now that was one of the Pro-Am cars, wasn't it? Yes, it was. It's the Jennings car.
And
Carl
off.
Henny.
That's Carl Henny. He's missed his braking at the end of the straight. Don't hit anything. Oh,
He does. Wet, friction-free grass. He was a passenger. He knew what was coming. He just couldn't steer it out of it, and he couldn't tand his team JTR for Joe Tandy Racing. It's late brother Joe, who was no mean driver himself, and driver in the background, Plato rotates. And I'm afraid there's a bit of damage on the front of Scott Mulvan's car, but he gets the place now. Scott Mulvan moves through. The Mackay brothers go by. Ross Wiley goes through, and their brother recovering. He's had it off early in the lap. David had a Pro-Am 2 win at Snetterton. Here, he's gone exploring the outer limits of McIntyre's then at the bottom of the hill. Drops to the back of the pack. Thankfully, though, doesn't get stuck in the gravel venue here. He's not raced that for 10 years, and he locks up. He dives up the inside. Is that going to work? Clatters his way through. I'm afraid contact was inevitable there from the moment you saw him lock up. Lights out, Camish blasts away, but Eastwood gets the drop on him, and Zamparelli moves across to take third, away from Tom Oliphant, and already on the grass and sideways, that looks like Ross Wiley, who goes around. Are they all going to miss him? No, John McCulloch it is who hits Ross Wiley, and that has done John McCulloch's car. I'm afraid that's not going to go any further. Ross Wiley may be able to rejoin, and we may have a safety car. We've certainly got waved yellow flag. Guy to the outside line. Plato's a little bit boxed in, and here, round the outside in the red and yellow and black car is Dan Mackay. Tio Alanas locks up Plato, getting into the back of Ewan Mackay. Dan Mackay gets run out wide over the curb, and they touch. He gets all crossed up, but it's Plato that is delayed, and it's Alanas who's the winner out of that because he gains 2 places.
Good move round the outside, but Lewis Plato was very, very gentle in there. And Mackay's lost it under the brakes. Gone wide. Can he keep it rolling? He bounces off the tyre a little bit. Yes, he does keep it going. That's ironic. I had that exact conversation with Dan about doing just that on Friday.
And it's 4 for the race lead. Camish again to the outside line. Can Zamparelli dive up alongside him? He's going to try. Zamparelli up alongside Camish for second place. They lean on each other. They touch, and Zamparelli gets elbowed out to the grass. He slots in behind Camish. So are we going to get another repeat of all the dramas at the hairpin? Eastwood's wide up the curb. Here comes Camish, and there's contact between them, and Camish is on the grass. Can he hang on to it? The answer is no. Round he goes. Dan Camish spins into the barriers, and that, I'm afraid to say, is Dan Camish out of the points, and there's going to be one more lap as predicted at the end of this, as Zamparelli now attacks Charlie Eastwood. Dan Camish, I don't think, has got going. Nope, he's out of the car, he's out of the race, and saying, what on earth was all that about? Eastwood leads, but will he hang on to it? Here comes Zamparelli. To the checkered flag will come Charlie Eastwood then for his 4th win of the season, as Zamparelli leans Oliphant towards the hoarding, and that goes for Burton as well. Charlie Eastwood wins. 2nd is Dino Zamparelli. 3rd with company now is Tom Oliphant with half of a hoarding. And then in Pro-Am 1, we're about to have a lead change, are we? Because Carl Leonard, the Irish driver in the white car, is on the inside line, and he's going to go through, and there's contact between him and Alex Martin, and they both go. Leonard is sideways, Leonard spins, Alex Martin is back on the road, and Carl Leonard rejoins. The Hotelier heads up towards Luffield.
Oh, look at that.
Now we need
The
to be concerned.
bodywork's on. Now there is a problem. I think that must now have been the exhaust, something to do with the exhaust. And Dan knows it, he's pulled off.
Race leader Dan Camish out of the race. He'll be out of the car. Is he out of the championship hunt as well?
Any chance that Dan had of the championship now has absolutely gone.
Already crawling all over the back of Eastwood. He's alongside him. He's going to go through. Yes, he does. Goes 3rd. Sideways into sight. Zamparelli's off the road. Dino Zamparelli, having taken 3rd place, slides wide, loses place after place after place. He's back on again.